If you drink coffee, you're going to want to hear this. It might be about to get a lot more expensive in the United States because of Trump's tariffs.
$14 for 1 pound of coffee? What the is happening here?
You will want to hear this if you drink coffee. Trump's tariff may be the catalyst for a significant increase in prices in the United States. What on earth is going on here? 1 pound of coffee for $14? Prepare yourself if you start your day with coffee. The price of the recognizable cup you buy at Walmart has doubled. The prices of Walmart's top 6 coffee brands have doubled just days after Trump's new import taxes went into effect. Walmart is powerless to keep pricing close to usual, and customers are left wondering what the hell happened. However, how could a tariff policy cause coffee costs to soar so quickly? Will the most severely impacted brands even make it into Walmart's shelves? More significantly, to what extent will this elevate your daily cup of coffee, a daily ritual for millions of Americans, to the status of a luxury good? We'll dissect each brand, reveal the true causes of this price increase, and examine the future for coffee enthusiasts nationwide over the course of the next few minutes. Folgers Classic Roast has long been regarded as one of the most well-known coffee brands in America within Walmart's retail network. However, since August 2025, its price has almost doubled in comparison to the average from the previous year. But before we get right in, if you're worried about your health, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is where we share the facts that no one talks about. And if you're with me, please let me know. In the comment field, put 1 if you're currently viewing and this video speaks to you. Type 0 otherwise. You are unaware of the significance of your voice, nor was this a one-time hike. Most consumers didn't notice the increase until they totaled their monthly coffee purchases because it happened in modest waves. The primary culprit, according to internal reports from many distributors, is the imported supply chain rather than the expenses of domestic production. The Arabica and Robusta beans used in Classic Roast are imported from several Central and South American nations. Every import contract had to be renegotiated after the new U.S. tariff policy went into force, and some important suppliers suddenly had to pay an additional 50% levy. In addition to driving up the price of raw materials, this made it harder for Walmart to bargain with its suppliers for lower rates. Experts also point to the rapidly rising expense of international shipping. Each container of imported coffee suddenly cost thousands more as transport companies increased charges to cover fuel and insurance costs. Those increased expenses appeared at the checkout counter almost immediately, because to the yearly volume of Folgers Classic Roast, more than 40% of Walmart coffee consumers had noticed the price increase for Folgers Classic Roast, according to a market survey conducted in early August 2025. Many middle-aged and older consumers are concerned that this is the new normal rather than only a brief rise. This is significant because these consumers rarely convert to other brands and instead frequently purchase the same ones. The price increase for Folgers Classic Roast affects more than simply customers' wallets. Sales of this product have somewhat decreased in the first month of the new pricing, according to Walmart stores, while sales of less expensive instant coffee brands have increased. That implies that some consumers are already choosing less costly solutions, even if doing so means compromising flavor. According to market analysts, Folgers may lose a portion of its devoted clientele, which has supported the company for many years, if this tendency keeps up. Walmart's need to maintain high pricing in order to preserve profit margins, however, makes it easier for rivals to start aggressive low-price campaigns in an attempt to capture market share. According to some financial analysts, this is a sign that the new tariffs are beginning to affect necessities. It is difficult to predict how many other goods may be affected when a household staple like Folgers Classic Roast is directly affected. If supply problems and shipping tariffs are not fixed, will prices remain the same or increase even further? Will you have to change how you shop, or can you continue as you always have? Many consumers are wondering that after seeing the price of Folgers Classic Roast at Walmart reach all-time highs, great value has always been the preferred low-cost option for American consumers when it comes to Walmart's coffee selection. This private label brand serves as a safety net for those attempting to save costs without sacrificing their daily coffee habit. It competes not only on price. However, starting early August 2025, Terrific Value Coffee, once known for being the cost-effective option, has skyrocketed to over twice the price of the same period the previous year. Surprisingly, excellent value isn't strongly associated with expensive beans like those found in foreign countries. The majority of its mixes come from a variety of vendors, including low-cost beans from developing nations. Even those less expensive sources have become more expensive due to the new import taxes, which are applied uniformly regardless of quality, according to recent retail surveys. That very immediately eliminates the brand's primary price advantage. Analysts note that private label items typically maintain razor-thin margins by tightly controlling production costs. Walmart is forced to choose between raising prices or taking a hit to its earnings as raw materials, packaging, and transportation all increase at once. As a consequence, outstanding value is now priced at, and sometimes even higher than mid-tier commercial coffee brands, which has never happened before. People's purchasing habits are already exhibiting the effects. Great value purchases fell precipitously in the second week following the implementation of the new prices, according to internal sales statistics. Some consumers have shifted to less expensive barley and grain-based alternatives or tiny single-serve instant coffee packages. This change demonstrates how price-sensitive the devoted following of outstanding value is. Their devotion vanishes when the low price does. Regional grocery stores and neighborhood coffee roasters have quickly stepped in to relieve the strain. Numerous companies have introduced their own private label mixes, which are 10–15% less expensive than excellent value. In addition to attracting new clients, that compels Walmart to reconsider its pricing strategy. Losing its cheapest option title alters the game for excellent value from a market standpoint. When there isn't a definite low price anchor, consumers begin to consider other aspects like convenience or flavor, brand credibility. That can divide the market into more discrete segments, making it extremely valuable to develop a new identity. Many consumers might not be aware that Walmart's whole private label portfolio may be impacted by this price increase. Customers may start to wonder about the costs of other Walmart store brand items, such as cereal milk or canned goods, if Great Value Coffee, a common household staple, can't remain affordable. This mistrust may intensify, forcing Walmart to introduce significant promotions or marketing campaigns in an effort to retain customers. The key question from the perspective of the client is whether excellent value may result in price reductions. The short-term prognosis is not encouraging because shipping costs are still high and tariffs are not showing any signs of lowering. Individuals who are accustomed to paying less for the same thing might gradually change or permanently move to other possibilities. Excellent value demonstrates that even goods that were once thought to be price insensitive are vulnerable to the negative consequences of tariff policy. The broader question is what will happen to all the other necessities in the American weekly grocery cart if a brand that was designed to be inexpensive has to double its price. 3. Dunkin Original Blend has a distinct place among all the packaged coffee brands that Walmart sells. It is not merely a product associated with the Dunkin' coffee shop chain that is well known nationwide. Families who desire the flavor of a coffee shop without having to leave the kitchen also favor it. However, Dunkin' Original Blend was among the brands most negatively impacted by the new levies, with costs nearly doubling in just 2 months. Its sweet spot in the mid-range market sets it apart from other companies. With enough brand recognition to support its quality, the price was just perfect for customers to feel that it was worth it. It used to cost somewhat less than Starbucks, but more than retail brands like Great Value at Walmart, and maintaining that balance was essential to retaining devoted customers. People are beginning to wonder if Dunkin' is still worth choosing, now that its prices are gradually rising to match those of Starbucks. The source of Dunkin's beans is a major contributing element to this price increase. According to market data, the majority of their coffee originates in South America and Central America, which are directly impacted by the recent U.S. tariffs. Production expenses have increased as a result of the increased import duty on Arabica beans. In order coffee preserve a constant flavor, Dunkin sticks to 100% Arabica, unlike other competitors who blend in other beans to save money. As a result, they have little flexibility to reduce expenses. The price increase has also altered consumer purchasing habits. Loyal Dunkin customers are cutting back, opting for smaller packs or waiting for bargains, according to retail data from multiple East Coast states. Walmart has seen that 12-ounce bags sell better than 24 and 36-ounce bags, which indicates that consumers are purchasing just enough rather than stockpiling. The onset of price sensitivity is evident from that. Another consequence of this change is that it makes room for foreign rivals hoping to enter the American market. A few new European and Canadian businesses have started selling their products directly on Walmart shelves, offering superior Arabica at lower prices than Dunkin. Their objective is to attract consumers who have left Dunkin due to price but aren't prepared to switch to low-cost brands. Additionally, the effect extends beyond coffee packaging. Dunkin is an omni-channel brand that sells in its own outlets as well as retail. A substantial increase in Walmart prices alters consumers' perceptions of the company as a whole. Some customers are now seeing that there isn't much of a difference between Dunkin' and Starbucks when they compare the prices of their cups. Long-term, that change might harm Dunkin's positioning. Dunkin' now has two strategic options: reduce profit margins to maintain competitive pricing or improve the brand experience to the point where the higher price is warranted. Although there are risks associated with both, bean prices are not declining. It is nearly impossible to maintain the previous price point. This makes consumers wonder more about the future of mid-range coffee brands. The distinction between segments is becoming more hazy if Dunkin Original Blend, which was before seen to be of low quality, is now part of Starbucks. As price differences close, consumers will begin to rely their decisions more on brand identification and experience than price alone. Dunkin might lose the price-value ratio that made it a national coffee icon if this trend continues. This goes beyond a brief increase in price. It might mark a sea change in the way Americans purchase and consume coffee at home for years to come. The fourth is Café Bustelo. Because of its strong ties to the Latino community and to anyone who enjoys a strong, potent brew, Café Bustelo stands out among the coffees that are facing record price increases at Walmart. This isn't your typical cup of coffee like Great Value or Folgers. It's a choice that is recognized by culture. However, because of its distinctive flavor and roasting method, Café Bustelo has been particularly negatively impacted by the new tariffs. Café Bustelo's biggest problem is that the majority of its premium Robusta beans and dark roasted Arabica beans are imported from South America and the Caribbean. High new import levies are currently being imposed on many of those nations. Changing to less expensive beans or diluting the blend would mean losing the uniqueness of a brand that is known for its strength and richness. They are forced to absorb increased production expenses and pass them directly onto the shelf price as a result. In just a few months, Walmart's rates for Café Bustelo have increased by almost 85% in places where the brand is well liked. Customers who formerly purchased in bulk are now reducing their purchases to single cans or holding out for exclusive deals. A warning sign for any company is the fact that even ardent brand followers are altering their purchasing patterns. There is more to Café Bustelo's predicament than just the sticker image. When a brand associated with a particular community suffers, the emotional fallout quickly spreads. The Bustelo price increase has gained a lot of attention in social media groups and Latino community forums. Some interpret it as evidence that tariffs are affecting not only the economy, but even cultural traditions. Retailers and manufacturers are under additional, unseen pressure as a result of that perception. This presents Walmart with a challenging question. If demand declines and profit margins narrow, do they still carry Café Bustelo? Reducing its presence or pulling it could cause a reaction, but preserving it would require renegotiating supplier agreements or accepting lower profits. When import taxes, transportation expenses, and currency fluctuations are all trending in the wrong direction, neither choice is simple. Café Bustelo is competing with more than simply other Latin coffee companies. Additionally, international labels are vying for its attention. Brands from Colombia, Brazil, and even Europe are entering the market with slightly reduced prices and marketing centered around genuine single-origin beans as Bustelo's prices rise. Bustelo may lose its position as the preferred Latin coffee in the U.S. if that pattern persists. In the long run, tariffs do more than simply boost costs. They have the potential to erode a brand's connection to its core audience. Habits formed over decades might alter in a matter of months when prices surpass the pain threshold that tests commitment. Without a well-thought-out plan, the harm can go beyond temporary sales and result in a sustained decline in market share. Customers have a difficult decision to make: choose a less expensive option or pay more to maintain the flavor and quality they enjoy. Whether or not Café Bustelo remains on Walmart shelves may depend on the decisions people make over the course of the next few months. And it won't be a simple switch in the coffee aisle if the worst occurs and the brand is changed or vanishes. It would be an emotional and cultural loss for many. With its catchphrase, "good to the last drop," ingrained in generations' memory, Maxwell House was formerly a representation of regular American coffee. However, the company now has to make a difficult decision as the increased tariffs put pressure on the coffee supply chain. Lower quality to maintain prices or raise quality to preserve pricing. Walmart has obviously chosen the second choice thus far, and this is causing a lot of resentment. Maxwell House is a brand that appeals to a wide range of consumers, unlike those that target a certain demographic. Given that a large can of Maxwell House currently costs over twice as much as it did at this time last year, every price increase has a far wider effect. This is more than simply a price tag number. Millions of families' weekly shopping routines are directly impacted. For many years, Maxwell House has relied on large-scale production and advantageous bulk bean purchasing. That benefit has been short-lived by the additional import taxes. As soon as the tariffs went into force, contracts for South American and African Arabica and Robusta beans had to be renegotiated, which resulted in a significant increase in input costs. Maxwell House caters to a more price-sensitive clientele, and when prices rise, they are the first to go, in contrast to luxury businesses that may pass the cost on to those who are prepared to spend more. A noticeable shift in purchasing patterns is one concerning indicator. Customers are choosing smaller cans or just purchasing during sales instead of the large value-size can. This change raises the cost of packaging and delivering per product while upsetting Maxwell House's formerly stable revenue stream. If it persists, even with increased prices, the brand may wind up making less money. Walmart stores have reported abnormally high stock levels of Maxwell House in certain areas, particularly in the Midwest and South. That suggests that customers should reconsider before adding it to their baskets. Without a strategic change, it may be difficult to reverse the market share reduction brought on by the move toward less expensive brands or Walmart's own private labels. From a competitive perspective, rivals who spot an opportunity are also putting pressure on Maxwell House. To entice reluctant Maxwell House purchasers, several foreign brands that are less reliant on highly taxed bean suppliers are somewhat lowering their prices. Customers are much less likely to return once they try a new product and find it satisfactory. It is impossible to overlook that long-term hazard. Whether Maxwell House can do this without becoming less of itself is the question. Reputation is at stake when quality is compromised, yet maintaining quality means raising prices further. Since there is no indication that the tariffs will be lifted, the business must choose between keeping its present market share and letting go of some clients in order to preserve profits. For consumers, the increased cost of Maxwell House represents more than just the cost of a single coffee. It brings up the more significant issue of whether they can continue their regular activities in such a tumultuous economic climate. The answer might appear on their receipts in the upcoming months if even a well-known brand like Maxwell House is raising prices this much with no real protection from this tariff storm. 6. Starbucks is more than just a coffee company. The experience is centered on a cozy contemporary atmosphere and the sense of rewarding yourself every day. However, Starbucks cafes were not the only establishments affected when the new levies increased the price of importing premium Arabica beans from South America and East Africa. It also made an appearance on Walmart's shelves, where their bottled coffee is sold. Due to Starbucks' premium positioning and the fact that its patrons are typically less price-sensitive than those who purchase ordinary brands, this is a special example. However, even devoted fans begin to reconsider when costs increase by 40% or 80% in less than a year. A bag of Starbucks breakfast blend or Pike Place roast from Walmart now costs almost the same as or more than a casual sit-down restaurant lunch. Starbucks' strong dependence on uniform bean specifications and rigorous roasting procedures sets them apart. The brand's distinctive flavor profile cannot be maintained by simply substituting cheaper beans. Starbucks is particularly susceptible to cost increases because of its no-compromise policy. Consumer behavior is changing noticeably. Many consumers are choosing lesser amounts or just purchasing during brief promotional periods rather than the typical 1-pound bag. As a result, Starbucks' distribution method is under strain and the average sale per transaction declines. Higher storage and shipping expenses per pound result from smaller orders, which further raises retail pricing. From a competitive standpoint, Starbucks must maintain its premium image while preventing customers from switching to competitors like Peet's Coffee or Lavazza, which provide comparable goods but have greater pricing flexibility. The taste of these substitutes is good enough for a lower price, according to some Walmart customers who have started testing them. This is bad for Starbucks in the long run. The fact that Starbucks finds it difficult to introduce a less expensive line without harming its reputation further exacerbates the issue. They run the danger of damaging their brand if they cut quality. Prices may continue to rise if they retain quality, and the product may eventually become a luxury good that many people only purchase on exceptional occasions. The key question is whether Starbucks will stick to its brand identity and take a lesser market share, or find a new strategy to adjust to a time of fluctuating prices and tariffs. Customers will see the change most immediately in the coffee bags they bring home from Walmart, regardless of their choice. One thing is evident from these 6 coffee brands, which range from Starbucks to Folgers Classic Roast. Not only unusual imports and luxury products are subject to tariffs. They have the ability to directly affect millions of people's daily routines. Every purchase becomes a careful balancing act between budget and brand loyalty when costs double. Their reactions vary greatly, but they all agree that no brand is immune to escalating prices. While some adjust product quantities or look for new suppliers, others maintain their quality standards and accept losing clients. Customers are left to question if this is a temporary situation or if this is the new normal that we must all get used to. As well as all federal laws, if you have any thoughts about today, please leave a comment so that we may continue the discussion. To ensure you don't miss our next unbiased in-depth analysis, remember to press the bell, like, and subscribe.